I hate the
Okay.
topic. No way.
All right. All right. We're going live now. We'll be live any second. And okay. Hey guys, we got my good buddy Rock Castaldo with us. He's going to be talking about his thoughts on the 3I-ATLAS, and then also he's going to talk about he's going to do crystal readings for you guys. Okay. And then I always put this up every episode, guys. The subscribe button. Just remember to subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, or if you're watching on Rumble, remember hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and hit the thumbs up to give the video a like, because it goes a long way if you do all those things. Remember. So if you're not subscribed, now's the time to subscribe, because we're already back up to 4,000 on YouTube and 5,000 on Rumble. So yeah. With all that said, I'd like, let me read your bio. So tonight I have with me my good friend, Rock Castaldo. Rock Castaldo is a hereditary strega-lineage mystic, dream seer, and caul-born esoteric researcher who bridges ancient prophecy, crystal technology, and modern paranormal mysteries. Creator of the mystical spiral and exploring the call with Ra, he brings profound insight into hidden timelines and alien intelligences. And what I wrote about tonight is this 3I-ATLAS and insectoid alien intelligence, a hive-mind signal bleeding into our reality. Tonight, Rock Castaldo joins the Typical Skeptic Podcast to decode 3I-ATLAS, insectoid archetypes across history, and the role of crystals and copper tools in channeling and protecting consciousness. And it will also feature live crystal readings for some of the audience members, so bring your questions. And with all that said, I'd like to give him a big warm welcome back to the show. Ra, thanks so much for coming back on, man. How are you, dude? I think you're muted.
Hey, brother. Thank you. Thank you for having me on. Thank you for the beautiful introduction. It's always a good to see you and a pleasure to be on your show. And I'm looking forward to tonight's show.
Yeah. So what's going on, man, with the 3I-ATLAS? We might as well just dive right into it,
Yeah. Well, before I get into 3I-ATLAS, I want to do a little first rewind. For those that don't know out there, I've been heavily involved in researching comets, um, all sorts of celestial objects for many years. In fact, I'm pretty close friends and colleagues with some pretty well-known astronomers out there. Some of the most well-known in the world. One of them being Professor Chandra Wickramanasinghe. Not that I'm trying to drop names or anything, but me and Professor actually have been friends. Like he calls me on my birthday and stuff like that, things like that. But we've been sharing information and working together, and doing podcasts together for almost 10 years now, Professor Chandra and I. And actually, Professor Chandra, I think he's in his mid 80s now. I'm not exactly sure the exact age, but he's up there. He's the one who actually coined the term astrobiology with his mentor, the late Sir Fred Hoyle. Now, Sir Fred Hoyle and Professor Chandra, you guys can look it up. They've written dozens of books on comets and celestial objects. Professor Chandra taught at Cambridge. His mentor was Fred Hoyle, and Sir Fred Hoyle was one of the most famous thinkers and astronomers of all time. And Professor Chandra, was his colleague and one of his best friends, and was mentored by him. So Professor Chandra has been talking about panspermia and comets since the 1970s. And he got interested in my work and some of the things that I was sharing with him over the years. So we got to be pretty close. And I had him on my show a couple of weeks ago about Comet 3I-ATLAS. Now, he doesn't want to say it's an alien intelligence, of course. He thinks it's just an exotic comet. Now, an exotic comet because it's so very ancient. But what even Professor Chandra has admitted before, which I hate to bring it up. I don't always agree with everybody. What people need to realize are comets are a technology. They are a divine technology of the universe. It's the way God and advanced beings, move payloads across the cosmos. They literally carry the building blocks of life. They seed worlds. They're on mathematical orbits traveling the cosmos. I mean, they're not just random rocks floating through space. They're under divine control, and they're under control of advanced beings. And they are, whether advanced beings travel inside certain objects that are veiled as rocks, that can be speculated on, and we can go further into that. But they are being controlled by a divine intelligence, even God, if you want to say so. Um, that I wanted to first state, and to let people know that I'm not just speculating on certain things. I've been working with some of the best astronomers in the world, and it's pretty much proven comets, meteors, even asteroids, they can be carrying some of the building blocks of life. And they, even our world, before our world, life emerged on Earth. So let's say there was a whole stretch of years, like I don't know if it was millions or hundreds of thousands or thousands. I don't know the exact date, but there was all sorts of comet bombardments and meteor bombardments before life emerged on this planet. So this is the way things get seeded on planetary systems, right? You have meteor shower, you have meteors and all comets and all of these flying objects that are carrying the building blocks of life, and whether it's being terraformed slowly through meteor showers, that meteor showers are dropping all these goo of life, all this primordial ooze is dripping out, cometary dust. You know how much cometary dust comes into our atmosphere and leaks in through holes in our stratosphere, right? So there's certain spots. Check this out, Rob. There's certain spots on our planet, like the Himalayas, that poke holes in our stratosphere, right? And when we go into certain cycles, like minimum sunspot cycles, it's like an open invitation for anything that's lurking in our stratosphere to come on in. So what do I mean by anything that's lurking? I mean, we have fireballs and meteor showers, and all of these objects are carrying building blocks of life, bacterias, all of this stuff, cometary dust that comes in, that all comes into our stratosphere, and it lurks up there. And then we have spots in our stratosphere that have breakthroughs, especially when it's on a minimum sunspot cycle. We're on a minimum cycle, that's like an open invitation for places where there's breakthroughs in the stratosphere for things to come on in. And there's one place that's very special, the spot where Shiva sits, the Himalayas, right? The Himalayas is positioned such a way where the top of the Himalayas punches a hole in the stratosphere, and it forms a drainage funnel route for all the bacterias and all of the space goo that is lurking in our stratosphere. It punches a hole in our stratosphere, and it forms a drainage route, and it funnels in right on the Himalayas, and it sweeps on through. And because of the current of the winds, the first place it goes is Hong Kong and China. And when we had COVID hit, right, in December of 2019, we had a new virus on the planet. Now, I'm not saying it's the reason, but people need to look at this. In 2019, in December, when that new virus started to arrive on our planet, we went into a minimum sunspot cycle, the lowest it's been in over 100 years. And like I said, when we go in a minimum sunspot cycle, right there at the Himalayas, it punches a hole in the stratosphere, and it forms a drainage route. And the first places it comes through is Hong Kong and China. So all the new viruses that were coming in from space objects like comets and meteorites and all of that, because when we have comets pass through our inner solar system, when we have meteor showers, right, the solar wind and all of that carries it within to us, and some of it leaks through and comes into around lurking around our planet. And then when we have a minimum sunspot cycle, there's spots that it leaks through. We have breakthroughs in various areas, and you can actually time certain comets coming around, meteor showers coming around with certain diseases that have come on our planet, like the whooping cough and things like that. And if you look into Professor Chandra's books and Sir Fred Hoyle's books, they map out some of these diseases in the past where, this is the, proof of panspermia, right? So comets are a technology, whether they're being guided by aliens or not, but we have worlds being seeded by these objects. I've been talking about this for over 10 years, and it's pretty funny how all these people are coming out about now and saying that, oh, this is a tech, right? I've been talking about this. They're angelic intelligence, alien intelligence, however you want to look at it. Angels are messengers of God. The word angelos means messenger, right? So they're messengers of God. Comets are the messengers of gods. They're the ones that bring the payloads, right? They're the ones that carry DNA to planetary systems. So they've always been important. And the Himalayas is one of those spots where Shiva does the cosmic dance, right? The dance of renewal and destruction. The Nataraj, they call it in Hindu. The dance of Shiva, the Nataraja, where he does the dance. He sits at the top of the Himalayas, and you see him. This is actually outside of CERN, this statue, where you see Shiva with all these fiery emanations around him, a circular fiery emanation around him, and he is doing the Nataraja dance, because right there at the Himalayas is a spot where there's renewal and destruction and rebirth to the planet. So yeah, he brings fiery objects, whether it's coronal mass ejections from the sun or it's fiery comets to slam into the planet for renewal. Rob, check out, have you ever looked into the Burkle crater?
No.
So the Burkle crater is a crater possibly from a cometary impact, spelled Burckle. It's in the Indian Ocean, if I'm not mistaken. Um, and or right in the near the Mediterranean, right over there. Well, it's this crater, this impact crater, is timed with the biblical flood, and where it's positioned, you can imagine if a comet slammed into that spot and caused a tsunami, that tsunami would cause a tidal wave that went all the way up to Mount Ararat in Turkey, where they talk about Noah's Ark was found, and different arks, huge boats were found up on Mount Ararat in Turkey, where you can imagine if that impact happened. And this is the time of the impact. It goes along with the time of the so-called biblical flood. So I think at that time we had not just in the Burkle crater, but we had the various spots on the planet where we had comet bombardments that led to tsunamis, that led to like a worldwide flood, worldwide catastrophe.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah. Comets, dude. Comets. There was actually a Roman emperor that built the only known temple ever to a comet. I don't know if you ever knew about this, but it's called Temple of the Comet Star. It's right in the Roman Forum. Right, they still have remnants of this temple today.
Wow.
Yeah, it was Julius. I think it was Julius Caesar. He had right around the time he had died, a comet appeared. A really bright comet appeared in the star, and I know it was Emperor Augustus that came into office right when he died. So Emperor Augustus later on actually built a temple to the comet star, and he had an obsession with this comet. Actually, Emperor Augustus had a temple that was like secretly devoted to his own personal communication and devotion and obsession with this comet. Most everybody thought this temple was being erected because the populace believed that this comet appeared to take the soul of Julius Caesar, because he was one of these great kings. He was like a pharaoh, right? He was like a god king. So when he died, there were these games, these like Olympic game type things that happened. And during the whole 7 days of the Olympic Games, this huge star, this comet appeared in the sky, and it was as bright as Venus, like brighter than Venus, right? And So Augustus, I think he took it as a sign that it was because he came into office that the comet appeared to himself, but everybody else wanted to, believed it was to usher in the soul of the dead Caesar, right? So yeah, it was very very interesting. It's called. You could see some remnants of it still to this day, and it appeared at the beginning of the rule of Augustus at some games that were being held. I forget the name of the games, but they were founded. I think they were founded in honor of the Mother Venus or something like that, which is very interesting because when you look into it, the even the work of Immanuel Velikovsky, his research and belief that Venus was actually a comet itself and ended up as a planet. Well, on the very day of the games, I think is when the comet was like visible for 7 days in the northern part of the sky, and it was rising like just about an hour before sunset, and it was as bright as a star, like visible from everywhere, right? And the common people, like I said, they believe that this star signified that the soul of Caesar, and if you even look at the word Caesar, it's Asar, right? It's if you look at the sea, take the sea away for a second. It's Asar, right? That's the name of Osiris. The real name of Osiris is the Greek word for him. Well, his real name is Asar, Asar, and that's basically another. That's what Caesar is derived from, and Asar comes from the word Asura, the ancient warrior kings, the star kings, the shining ones, right? So that's very interesting. So the populace, the common people, they believe that the star signified that the soul of Caesar. You guys can look it up, Temple of the Comet Star. You can see what it looked like. They actually have remnants of some of it still standing in the Roman Forum today. So he received he was among the spirits of the immortal gods, the way they portrayed it, because this comet arrived when he died to usher him into the cosmos, and the emblem of the star was actually the comet was added to the bust of Caesar that was in the temple. It was like over his head, on his third eye area. And yeah, so comets have always been really important. There was always, even in Italy, like certain comets and certain celestial objects, meteors and things like that. They were looked at like when a person would marry, the first the first meteor or shooting star in the sky would be like, it would be like the family meteor, and depending on the alignments in the sky at the time that this meteor was seen would depend on the outcome of the marriage and things like that. So meteor showers were really looked at as very important, and shooting stars and all of these things that would appear in the sky. So when we have comet 3I-ATLAS appearing at a certain time on July 1st, like when we found it this year, that's very significant. On July of this year, we had a planetary rare alignment, a planetary parade, in fact, where the planets were lining up. So people don't tend to talk about that, and I think that's very significant. That I think it was found on July 1st, 2025. That's when we first noticed Comet 3I-ATLAS. Now, I highly recommend people listen to me when I say this. I highly recommend people do not remote view or try to view these objects, even if you say you've got shields around you and things like that. Um, Now, I'll get into that a little bit further in a second, but let me remind you that these objects are running by advanced intelligences that we can't even fathom, right? And my dumbass in 2017, I decided to remote view Oumuamua when it first showed up, right? And I even announced it on my Patreon. I'm remote viewing Oumuamua. I'm going to share my results and this and that. Right? I regret. That's one thing. They say you don't have regrets in life. I did regret that. Right? So what I saw was an advanced insectoid type intelligence. And this was for Oumuamua. Now, this is another. People haven't heard of Oumuamua. You've probably been, behind a rock somewhere. But this is the first interstellar object that we've ever noticed. Now, I'm sure there's been others, but we weren't really looking for them, right? So now we're looking for them. We found three, right? There's been Oumuamua. I forget the other one's name afterward. And now Comet 3I-ATLAS is the third one. So when Oumuamua first showed up, I did a remote viewing of it, right? I sat there. It's sort of like an automatic writing. I mean, remote viewing is not the real term because remote viewings are supposed to be like blind targets. That's the like it was more like a it's way different than what I do. I sort of do like a telepathic viewing of things. And I've done this ever since I was a kid without realizing it. And usually if I take a piece of paper and start doodling, I start getting information coming to me, right? Especially if I focus on the thing, whether it's an object, whether it's a celestial object, whether it could be anywhere in the world. It could be a person, it could be anything in the universe. And you can anyone can do this. Some people have it more potent. I think it was because certain things that transpired in my life, like I had like a near death. I had an operation to save my life. I had different things that happened where my brain sort of like certain things turned on that were previously sleeping, I think, or certain things. It's a blessing and a curse in many ways. And I can't really control it sometimes either. Certain things will come to me out of nowhere, like, and I wasn't asking for it. And then you get plagued by it. Like I saw my best friend's death 17 years before it happened. And there was no time for it. Like I thought when I had the vision of it, it woke me up, and I thought it was going to happen like that day. So it was like 17 years of worrying until it actually happened the way I exactly saw it. It's really, really horrible to have to deal with that. But so in 2017, I remote viewed Oumuamua. And between what I was getting in the scribbling and what I saw, I think most likely it's a intelligence that's far older than our solar system, and it's void of compassion. It's void of um you know any kind of consciousness like we have, or emotions like we have. They're the kind of intelligence that whatever gets in its way doesn't really matter. They're going to carry out their their mission, or whatever they're doing. It's not like they're going to have compassion or for somebody or anything like that. It's a very ancient intelligence, and it's more like an insectoid type intelligence. And right around the time Comet 3I-ATLAS happened, I started to get the same dreams I was having in 2017, right? And I didn't even put the two and two together at first. And then what was coming to me, I actually wrote down. Now check this out. I actually wrote down the words al-Bada. Right. This was in early July when I was getting these dreams coming back. I mean, when I tell you I regretted remote viewing Comet Oumuamua, afterwards I was getting intense dreams. Right. This is why I have a lot of crystals and copper devices I make, because I block a lot of things out there. There's a lot of things that I block from being, because once you view something and an advanced intelligence like that, I think they become aware of you viewing it, right? And I don't think I mean that much to them, but there wasn't like they attacked me or anything like that or did anything to me. But I was getting like horrific nightmares, of various things at the time, and they still occur once in a while, right? And what I got was that it is some sort of advanced intelligence, but all comets are, right? Whether something is traveling inside of it is a different story. Now, with I think it's quite possibly there could be a whole insectoid little city traveling inside of Comet 3I-ATLAS, right? Now, what came to me about Comet 3I-ATLAS was the word Albadah. Now, Albadah is spelled Albadah, and that's interesting on a few levels, right? So, Albadah is a Muslim Islamic word, but it relates to the area of Sagittarius where Comet 3I-ATLAS was first found in the Sagittarius Atlas, which is right in the center of our Milky Way, right? And Al-Bada is one of the lunar mansions, the Chaldean mansions in Arabic, right? And in Chaldean, I think as well, they use it. And it's the region for being like relatively empty of stars and is compared to like a desert or a gap, right? The stars of Al-Bada is like the 21st lunar mansion, I think, and it's the city or the closed door, and it's usually associated with somebody having some sort of travel or recovering from illnesses. They summon that star, but the star is designated to the Sagittarius, right? It's located in and that's called the Archer Sagittarius, that constellation. And I think that's very interesting because this star, that word Al-Bada, it refers to certain things like the concept of like divine decree in Islam, like that literally means like appearance or emergence. Now, this is incredible because check this out. That word al-bada, meaning appearance or emergence, right? Or externalization. That's exactly what we're supposed to have here in 2025, right? I've talked about it on your show before. Alice Bailey talked about this in 1939, how at the end of April 21st, 2025 was supposed to be the end of the Kali Yuga, and there's going to be an externalization of the hierarchy in 2025. That means some sort of celestial hierarchy is going to emerge and externalize itself in this year. And what do we have? We have this al-Bada that came to me, this Comet 3I-ATLAS, which means emergence, appearance, right? That's really incredible. And I don't think people realize the significance of that. Now we're having this emerge in 2025, and people, it might be a distraction from what's really like some sort of uh, alien, false alien flag or whatever. But I think it's really significant because there's so much going on with this comet that is not normal, right? It's exotic space object, but there's certain things that people don't realize. The comet is not gravitationally bound to the sun, and it's on a path that will carry it out of our solar system, right, into interstellar space. Now, during its discovery, it was first detected in that constellation of Sagittarius. Not saying it was originated from there, but that's where we first detected it. Now, from July to September of 2025, the comet's going to be visible from Earth after sunset in the constellation of Sagittarius, right? So that's very important, right? That's an important constellation as well. That's called the Archer, right? And Al-Bada, that name is associated with that area, right? So we'll swing, it's going to swing closest to the sun in October 2025, but right when it's at the closest to the sun, where we'll be able to view it the best, it's going to be invisible, right? It's not where it's going to be hidden, right? So that can't be a coincidence, right? And now it's going to emerge, I think, in December from behind the sun. But on July 1st, when we first saw it, it was approximately like 420 million miles from the sun. And that number 420, right? So I think it was discovered in a radio telescope or some, or this actually the Atlas Yeah, that's why they named it. It was found at the Atlas Survey Telescope in Chile, right? So that's why they named it 3I-ATLAS, because the discovery was made by the Atlas telescope in Chile. But the comet was like inside of Jupiter's orbit. Now, what I also got coming to me was related to the word Azazel, the fallen angel Azazel and Semyaza. Now, I know I don't want to just start throwing words out there, but Azazel was supposed to be one of the angels put in the prison, right? He was locked down. Now, I know for sure from different experiences I had, this is a prison of light that exists either within our magnetosphere or within a magnetosphere around Jupiter. And I know the Jovian magnetosphere is one of the largest unseen structures in our solar system. And there's an unseen bridge that goes from our magnetosphere, and this is a plasma bridge, a plasma tunnel. And this exists. These are soul stations. Anybody who has ever done any telepathic or astral traveling, they should know and see that we have streams of what science calls plasma. These are intelligences. There's all sorts of species of plasma that exist in the universe. These are a divine intelligence, right? This is the intelligence of angelic intelligence. This is how creation happens, right? Plasma is a, a sentient form of the it's what strings everything together in the universe. It's the universe is all made of plasma. 99.99% of the mass of the universe is sentient plasma. It's literally nebulas are all made of plasma, suns, stars, right? They're all streaming plasma, right? And there's all sorts of forms of species that exist within the plasma, right? And whether we call it whatever we want to call it, all of the ancient past has all different names for them. Even like the orbs that appear right before our show, Rob. We had a plasma orb. Me and my daughter saw it outside. Right, I was getting it on
Wow.
camera. Right, it was one of those orbs. Right, this is like the third or fourth time I've got it on video. And these are called in ancient Egypt the Aku orbs. Right, they're beings of light. Right, and I honestly believe these are actually generated within our own planet, and they're generated on a line of megalithic structures that help generate these little plasmoid beings, and they happen from different movements of the earth and piezoelectricity and all types of things that happen connected with the sun, right? And the sun's energy, the sun's rays, they connect to a whole line of megalithic structures on our planet that help these beings travel along these lines. And it helps generate them. All sorts of tumulus structures and all sorts of obelisks and dolmens and all of these structures, these plasmoids or Aku orbs, they're connected to them, right? And you could call them elementals, right? You could call them fairies. You could call them whatever you want, but they've been a normal condition of this planet for since it's always been, right? But yeah, Comet 3I-ATLAS. There's so many people, like, I don't want to put people's names out there, but like I've known certain people out there for a long time. They're putting out like unprovable math. It's mathematically proven it's the Anunnaki. It's mathematically proven it's not it's related to Anunnaki or the Nibiru and all of this. Like, that's a bunch of nonsense. That's like unprovable math that just people make up because they want to be, I don't know. But I do think it is related to an advanced insectoid type intelligence. It's coming close to planets, and it shouldn't be on that type of trajectory. Its tail is facing towards the sun instead of away the sun. There's a lot of different things that shows it, but it's also a comet that's older than any other comet we've ever seen before. It's older than our solar system, of course, and most of our the comets that we know about come from within our solar system, from the Kuiper belt or from the Oort cloud, right? So if people don't know, the Oort cloud and the Kuiper belt are like these torus bubbles that surround our solar system, right? And they're probably not unique to our solar system. There's most likely other Oort clouds all around, all around the universe, and maybe in the future we'll be able to discover other Oort clouds and show. But this is how most likely comets exchange comets from with other solar systems, is because their Oort clouds have to exchange comets from another Oort cloud. So they would have to be at certain the right trajectory and at the right speeds and all of this, and then comets can exchange interstellar comets, right? So when you have an interstellar comet coming in, it's carrying interstellar DNA and bacterias. So you don't want something from another solar system, interstellar DNA and bacteria is entering into our area. I mean, this could be, people don't realize, but this could be really vital. Like I said, anything that's outgassing in our inner solar system is going to eventually find its way into Earth. Some of that outgassing, all that stuff that's outgassing out of the comet, out of the object, and we have proof that there's water outgassing from it. There's all sorts of shit outgassing from it, right? And the closer it gets to the sun, the more outgassing it's going to have, right? The more leakage that comes out of it. So you can have literally interstellar frozen bacteria inside of this object that once it starts outgassing that stuff, I mean, it's literally going to get the solar wind's going to bring it into our planet. And then it could be lurking within our stratosphere in different areas until just at the right moment. When we go into just the right sunspot cycle, it could be literally lurking in there for a long time, right? And just it'll start dripping into our planet. And I mean, you can have bacteria from other solar systems and other from interstellar space, right, that have been frozen for millions of years and now emerging on our planet.
Wow, that's huge. That's
Yeah.
a lot to think about. And what's interesting is I heard this comments like dodging stuff too. Like it's
Yeah, and
like dodging.
it's gonna be hiding right when it's our best time to view it, right? So I don't recommend the people trying to communicate with this intelligence. I do think it's an advanced form of an insectoid type of an intelligence. And now you could say I'm speculating. That's fine. But it is an interstellar visitor that's much older than our solar system, right? It originated somewhere much farther from here, and it's way before our solar system even existed. So it's very ancient, and it has its own trajectory, and it's coming close enough where it could be considered near misses to certain planets like Venus, Jupiter, things like that. So even Earth, right? So uh, yeah, I mean, the fact that our year's almost over now. We're in September, right? And 2025 was supposed to be the first emergence of the celestial hierarchy, the externalization of the celestial hierarchy. And now this, as we enter into this great summer of purification that will last 300 years on this planet, for the next 300 years, this planet will be purified by fire. And I guarantee you, it'll be from a solar purification on this planet, the solar logos, right? And not only that, but by 2050, it'll turn into an ice age if we don't change the collective consciousness on this planet. And it's related to the spiritual chaos that this planet has plunged into, and the materialism and the sickness and the amnesia that we're in, right? So this planet needs a renewal. Earth needs a purification, and it's coming. So whether this is an intelligence that is going to trigger that purification or send us certain ancient bacteria that's going to annihilate the planet and bring a renewal, that is to be seen. Now, I do think there's a prison of light that exists around our planet. Now, it might actually also be linked to a moon of Jupiter, Io. It's a volcanic hell. And what's interesting is that our magnetosphere. Now, you can consider me a theoretical plasma physicist. I'm at a senior undergraduate level in the math of plasma physics, and I've been working on plasma physics for a lot of years now, and um, and not just that. Before that, I was doing astrobiology, and a lot of the things, a lot of my theories, actually have been proven to become true later on. And some of the things that other people have gotten awards about have kind of been just looked over when I've said them. It's kind of weird. But uh, I do feel that we we're gonna go through a time of renewal either way. That whether it's comets coming or whether it's a solar storm or whether it's a combination of all of these things, that what matters is the collective consciousness of our planet, and that nothing's set in stone. And I truly feel that we can change things even up to the last moment. So uh, it's kind of interesting that the whole world is like focused on this thing right now.
It
You know,
is.
you
It
know,
is, right? It makes me think, like, what is, yeah.
it's
I don't
like,
know.
and it's like all these people that are coming out considering themselves experts on it now and talking about it. Like, it's kind of weird, man. It's, it's. I don't want to put people's names out there, but so I'm not going to mention them. But like, there's so many people where when I hear them talk, I start to cringe because I'm like, oh man, this is ridiculous. Like some of it's just nonsense. That's why I don't want to look like one of those people that are just saying, oh, it's another person that's just saying that, oh, it's an insectoid intelligence. He's saying it's an alien as well. Well, I'm not saying. I'm saying all of these objects are under some sort of divine control. Right? They're all of them. They're not just random objects floating through space that just happen to be carrying the building blocks of life and landing on certain planetary systems and things like that. I mean, that doesn't happen. The coincidence and the mathematical probability of some of the things that Comet 3I-ATLAS is doing is just not possible. The same thing with certain comets, uh, you know, traveling around, for millions of years and then just happen to come and hit a planet, or a meteor is traveling all around and just happens to bring certain building blocks of life to a planet, right? And that are that change the ecosystem or whatever. I mean, that doesn't just randomly happen. I think they're literally being guided by an intelligence, by if you want to say God, and God's messengers are angels, and we know that certain angels disobeyed God and shared knowledge with humans and possibly other planetary systems as well. So these this knowledge of using meteors and comets to seed worlds is obviously accessible to the angelic beings of the universe, God. So if certain angels decided to disobey God and use comets to seed worlds, I mean, that's the perfect way. I mean, I think that's more of what happened, and the mistranslation is that they came to the planet and had sex with and women and all of this. And I think it's more likely that on Mount Hermon, right, where the fallen angels, there was one of the incursions that happened of fallen angels. And you guys can consider me an expert. I don't consider myself an expert, but you can consider me an expert on biblical prophecy, on biblical writings, on a lot of ancient writings. I have Me and Gary Wayne have been working together for over a decade, and Gary calls me an expert. I don't really call myself an expert, but I've been working. See, I've had certain experiences in life where I saw things that people never could imagine, that I never thought could be real. So I had to do the research so I didn't sound completely batshit crazy. So that if anybody ever questioned what I was saying, I have enough research and enough knowledge to stand by what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? So I've been doing work for a very long time. And in the book of Enoch, you have three Enochs: Enoch 1, 2, and 3. In the book of Enoch, they talk about the Grigori, like in Enoch 2, they talk about the Grigori, but the Watchers, the fallen angel. Supposedly there was multiple possible incursions, but the one incursion that's talked about in Genesis 6 is elaborated on, of course, in the book of Enoch. And in the book of Enoch, they talk about how on Mount Hermon, 200 fallen angels came down. I think those were meteors, right? And meteors are carrying different characteristics, different genetic material, different things that bring different things to the planet. So
Yeah.
I think that different meteors landed, and it was carrying different characteristics that brought different things to mankind, right? It seeded this world, and there is history of meteors falling on Mount Lebanon and those areas. And also, there's history of these intelligence orbs appearing in that area, and people talking about them throughout history. So I find it really significant that that word Alabada was given to me when I woke up out of that dream about Comet 3I-ATLAS when that was found. And yeah, we're gonna find out a lot. I think towards the end of this year, more about Comet 3I-ATLAS, and I think that uh, you know, people need to use. There's a lot of the stuff out there that you're going to hear is for entertainment, right? Everybody wants to be the one with the info, so you're going to have all these people out there saying that they know this and know that. Um, uh, there's not many real ones out there. We're a dying breed, but I can tell you what. I don't think I could. I highly recommend people do not try to view these objects. Um, do not try to remote view Comet 3I-ATLAS or try to communicate with it. I don't recommend it. I don't think that we're that important where it's going to, come take you in your sleep or anything like that. But I think it could definitely have a mental effect on on people, especially if you're not grounded. And I think it could be detrimental to somebody's mental health by viewing something like that.
Wow. This is amazing, man. Yeah. Um, yeah. Does anybody in the audience have any questions about the 3I-ATLAS or anything that we talked about so far?
I mean, look at the size of it too. It's literally bigger than Manhattan.
I know, right? It's huge.
It's
It's
huge.
huge.
It's probably the oldest and one of the biggest comets that we know about. And it's not doing anything natural. Like, it's doing some things that you know that it shouldn't be doing. So it does have a tail, though. People say it doesn't have a tail. There is a tail. It's just not facing. It's away from the sun. Usually, like when something travels into the inner solar system, the solar wind should be. What the tail is, a plasma tail, and it's usually created when it comes into the inner solar system from the sun, right? So, and then the tail can even have like magnetic reconnection events where the tail breaks off and then reforms. Well, it's a plasma, it's a plasma tail that comes, but this tail is facing towards the sun. So that's kind of weird. It's facing into the solar wind instead of away from the solar wind. So that's strange in itself.
Yeah. Jason has a question. He says, does that mean? Let me just put it up on the screen so you can see it. He says, would that mean Ra doesn't think we should repurpose Juno 1 to check it out?
Um, I think they're going to do it as anyway. Oh, that I think we should. I want this to be. Don't get me wrong, dude. I would like this to be an advanced race that's here to help us. I just don't think it is. I want it to be. Don't get me wrong. Right? But and it's pretty funny how you have so many people out there, like the same people that are right now talking how, oh, Comet 3I-ATLAS is the Anunnaki or this or that, right? The same people that are saying that are the same people that are saying space is fake and that the Earth is flat and all of this stuff. Oh, so space is fake when NASA talks about it, but when NASA talks about an exotic comet like 3I-ATLAS, all of a sudden space is real. Now space is real. All of a sudden space is real when Comet 3I-ATLAS is here. But before it was fake. Everything is fake for that Atlas. Why have all of a sudden everybody's talking about Comet 3I-ATLAS like it's real? But then before the same assholes are saying that space is fake. Like, it's so ridiculous. Like, space isn't fake. Yeah, NASA doesn't tell us some things. NASA might hide some things, but space isn't fake. The same people that are saying space is fake are the same people now that are talking about Comet 3I-ATLAS. So why? You want to pick and choose what's real in space? It's so stupid. It's so funny.
That's the problem with this community. Everybody wants to be an expert. Everybody wants to be right, and everybody wants to think they know everything, and nobody wants to actually listen and learn.
Yeah, the same people that are saying space is fake are the same people that now saying Comet 3I-ATLAS is real and it's an alien. Like, oh, so that object is real, but everything else in space is fake.
It's like I think everybody should just have an open mind about everything, and everybody should just take everything in and make your own decision, about, whatever you think it is. But, make sure you make an educated decision based on information from multiple sources,
Yeah. I agree completely, brother. I agree completely. In my opinion, it's an advanced insectoid intelligence, and most likely these objects are used to see either release certain materials to seed worlds to get them ready for possible planetary I'm only speculating, but maybe it's possible planetary conquest. I mean, it sounds like an incredible sci-fi movie, right? But this is what we're looking at here. I mean, they're coming close enough where they can release material that can eventually seed our planet. And if you have an advanced intelligence that's millions and billions of years old, time isn't really like we look at it, then
seed our planet with what? What would they seed it with?
Like what I was talking about earlier. These materials aren't inside those gases, dude. You got bacteriophages, you got all sorts of components of life, and all of the stuff that comes out of comets that are frozen within. You literally have frozen bacteria from interstellar space.
Yeah.
And this material gets released in the gases, in the plasma tail, in the outgassing, in the water that's coming out of it. Right? Yeah. You literally have frozen ice with bacteria. Dude, even the International Space Station has bacteriophages. Now, do you realize what a bacteriophage is?
Yeah, I know because I've talked to you before, but the audience might not know. Tell the audience if you can, because the audience might not know.
A bacteriophage carries genetic material in its head, right? And it can transfer genetic material from one species to another. They call it horizontal gene transfer. And a bacteriophage is like a little machine, right? And you have them in our gut, attached right to our E. coli, right? Right to our E. coli cells and things like that, right? In our gut, they can transform your gut. They can transform your personality. They can bring new DNA. They can bring one DNA from a species to another species, and they literally have an icosahedron head and a long tail and like these claws at the bottom, right? You guys can look it up, a bacteriophage, and they carry genetic material, DNA in their head. So if you have bacteriophages literally carrying DNA in it from an interstellar, from other solar systems out there, it'll start outgassing those things, and that's going to eventually find its way into Earth and other planetary systems in our inner solar system. So that's how it can seed worlds, literally like a panspermia, right? Where you have genetic material, bacterias, and all sorts of ancient frozen components of life. They are the queen of the heavens. They are the dragons of the cosmos. They are breathing the elements of life and death and rebirth.
Okay, I was seeing. We had someone who wanted a reading. Should we transition to the readings now?
Yeah, you want to do some readings?
Yeah, we had someone who donated $20. That was nice of him, Nat Janoff. Thank you, Nat. That was really nice of you.
What people? What yeah, you guys. I have been receiving visions my whole life, right? I have been guided to make certain things to help us tap into our higher selves and to be able to process the light that's on the planet right now, the transformation that's happening on the planet right now. So you guys can take the information I'm talking about and let it pass. You can believe me or not. I really, I'd rather you guys listen and take it to heart. But it's what I'm saying is that we're about to lose ourselves. We're about to lose who we are as a species, right? And we're about to lose humanity. We're at the cusp of losing humanity, right? So this is a crucial time on the planet, and we've been enchanted through materialism and greed, right? So it's up to us to personally awaken and let our egos be smashed so we can be a little bit more humble and look at things from a different point of view, because right now we're crashing this planet deeply, deeply crashing this planet. And the planet, the birds, you can hear it in the song of the birds. They're in pain, right? They're crying out sometimes. The planet's in pain, and we're part to blame. We're mostly to blame. So it's time for us to really recharge the human spirit, recharge our connection to nature. And this is what I've been guided. I've been guided to make certain products that bring us our connection to nature better, that protect us from the EMF. And I've been, yeah, dude, literally since I've been making my certain products, there's been people all over the world that's been trying to mimic my certain shungite pendants and been trying to copy the way I do them and things like that. So I've always been someone that can like be a trendsetter and things like that. So if people want to get it from the original guy that got the vision to make my shungite pendants and EMF style pendants, you go right to package reading, crystal skull readings. And remember, when you get the crystal skull reading, it doesn't come with a crystal skull. Right? Some people might think it comes with that big crystal skull in the picture is the reading. I also sell crystal skulls, but they're separate on the website. You can purchase crystal skull readings. You can purchase regular telepathic readings without the crystal skull. Sometimes the crystal skull helps bring ancient memory of past lives and things like that. So it assists with things sometimes. So that's what they're pretty much good for, helping bring more information about the ancient memory of your path, right? So if people are uncomfortable with the crystal skulls, I have regular readings available as well. But I just made actually today a couple of new items that we can, if people want, we can do them at a real discount in the chat room here today. They're not even on my website yet. There's 3 of them. I was making the Herkimer diamond and shungite combination pendants, and those really sell quick. So I decided to also make black tourmaline and Herkimer diamond combined. There's 3 of them right here that I just made today. They're not even up on my website yet. These are black tourmaline and Herkimer diamond wrapped in the copper coils. And I also have the twisted raw mu cubit with the twisted copper coil around the elite noble collector's grade shungite, all made today. So if people want, I'll do each one of these for $25 tonight. I have 3 of them made before they go up on my website. That's a really great deal for a Herkimer diamond and a black tourmaline. I'll show you what they look like. That's a huge deal. You got black tourmaline and the Herkimer diamond in there.
That's nice, man.
Yeah, I'll get a better video. I'll do a YouTube video on it later, so I get a better video. But these are really cool. There's 3 of them that I just made today. If you want the more advanced ones have the twisted copper. Like this one is. This is the twisted tensor coil around elite noble shungite. This is the raw mu cubit, and you can see it's really tight twisted copper. This is the raw mu cubit around collector's grade elite noble shungite, really high quality. And that twisted copper, you can see this is a bigger ring of the twisted copper. That's the same type of twisted copper that you have around here, just a smaller gauge. So these are great for protection, not just from.
I have my Herkimer diamond and copper right here. You know,
that one's awesome, dude.
And I always show this too, guys. Like this is my crystal skull I got from Ra's store. You can see the you can see it in there. It's a little one, but you can see it's amazing. You can see the rainbow in that. It's beautiful. You know.
Yeah, I had gotten a vision of a specific Vogel cut wands. I have 2 left of my specific limited edition 2025 Vogels that have rutile inside of them. So these are really high level. And if someone wants one of I only have 2 left of my custom Vogel wands. I have 1 pendant left and 2 regular wands. 1 Vogel pendant left of Himalayan rainbow quartz and 2 Vogels of rutile quartz. And I also have some amazing fire matrix opal amulet skulls that I made. Maria Wheatley actually just bought one. You had her on your show, right? My friend Maria?
Yeah. I'd like to have her on again. Yeah.
She actually just sent me her book.
Oh, the Secret History of Stonehenge. That's cool.
Yeah, she just sent me, look. To the amazing Maria Wheatley.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. She signed it.
Yeah. She sent this to me, yeah.
She's an amazing woman. She really is, you know?
Yeah, I've known her like 13 years or so already. We're pretty good friends.
That's really cool.
Yeah, we've known each other for a long time. She's been coming on my show since 2015. And I think I met her and we first started talking in 2013 when I think me and her were a guest on the same show, or I forget how we met. I forget exactly how we met, but yeah, she's a really good woman, dude. She keeps things professional, and I respect her. You know, she like her dad was a master dowser, so she's a 2nd generation dowser. Her dad was one of the guys that would like douse for water in towns. You'd be able to find like underground water and things like that. Yeah. So that's how she got into it.
No, that's amazing. Yeah, Art Bell's wife was able to do that too. She was like a witch. She was able to douse for water. That's amazing. Like, yeah. Yeah, we only had 1 person donate. It was Nat Janoff, and he donated $20. So thank you, Nat. That was nice of you. And he says he has a question. He says, I don't know if I can bring him up here. Nat, if you're in the chat, put a comment in the chat if you want me to pull up your oh man, let me try to get this comment off the screen. I have to put up another comment to get this comment off the screen because like I want to pull up Nat's name, but like I think you can kind of tap into him. Here's his question. He says, "Hi Rob, could you ask Rob if he could do a reading for me regarding financial abundance? I have DEPT that I'd like to get rid of. I have the DEPT that I'd like to get rid of. but I could really use to make a lot more money. I have
Well,
debt. I think he says I have debt that I'd like to get rid of, but I'd
yeah.
really like
So,
to make a lot more money. He says thank you, and he's Nat's a musician. Here he is. Here, I'll pull him up right here so you can
all
see
right.
him.
So I'm getting the symbolism like a Six of Swords type symbolism. So that card, that energy, that visuals, right? Those I'm getting visuals for people cutting away, breaking away, splitting, going away, parting, separating, breaking bonds, severing ties, leaving somebody behind, parting ways, broken friendships. Um, uh, this is the time like this is necessary. Breaking away from a bad relationship, cutting out some kind of unpleasant situation or frustrating job, that's going to lead to financial success. You have to break away from something that's troubling you right now. There's a breaking away that you need, a splitting, a taking away, a going away. Like I'm getting those types of visions right now for you. Like you need to cut it out. It's either like an unpleasant situation that you're in, or a frustrating job, or something like that, but you need to part ways with something severely right now. Once you leave that thing behind, I'm pretty sure you'll probably know what it is. Uh, Daniel starts to see the abundance come into your life, but you need to do a parting of ways first. Look up the Six of Swords in tarot. That's probably something that if I would have used the tarot deck, the Six of Swords probably would have came out. Right? That's the kind of symbolism that I'm getting.
No, okay. Maybe we'll do one more or a couple more. This is Spider Bite. She says, "I've never had
Spider
a reading
bite,
from Ra. Could he please tell me
spider
what I need to
bite.
see from my future, please?" She says.
Well, I'm seeing right now like nostalgia coming up, emotional memories, a happy times coming, like a wonder, a trust, creativity. I think this is like a new friend coming in your life, maybe like or an artistic or literary more interests coming in, like good relationships coming, a sense of fulfillment, right? But with a child's type of uh, a childlike sense of wonder with it all, right? So I do feel that's coming in the future for you. That's but it's gonna. I feel like a lot of nostalgia is gonna be coming up for you. A bunch of things like trust starting to come up, right? Things about that, and I think it's a new friend is coming in your life soon, like a new friend and new interests and new things like that. Good relationships is coming. I see that definitely coming right now. It would be like a Six of Cups, right? Would probably most likely that's a lot of sixes, a Six of Swords, a Six of Cups. That's probably the first two people, two sixes so far. I would say that the Six of Cups would have been a tarot card that probably most likely would have been pulled up for you. So if you want to even look into the Six of Cups more, it's about nostalgia. It's about um, you know, it's about meeting new friends in your life. You know, uh, things like that.
I love that. I love that. She says she's a 33-6, whatever that means.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Who's next?
What does that mean?
Who's next?
Um, Let me see here. Does anybody else want a reading before we finish up? Does anybody else like a reading? Okay, I'm just waiting to see. Entertainment Extreme Network says he'd like a reading.
So she's saying like her master number is 33? Like she's talking about numerology? 'Cause
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, because like 33-6 is like, you know, like somebody who like is a teacher. like spiritual guidance and shit.
She said yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. That's the nurturer. 33-6 is the nurturer. Like that's the, the mother. Okay, who's next? Extreme Network?
Yeah.
Just
By
a
the way,
regular.
real quick, before we answer this, really quick, Derek had a question in the chat earlier. He wanted to know who you think is going to win the fight between Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul. Do you have skin in that game? I think it's a total ludicrous fight, dude. I think it's a joke. It's
Like,
a
dude,
joke
how can you have somebody that weighs 50 pounds fucking heavier? I don't get it. He
I
weighs
know,
50
right?
pounds heavier than the dude. Like,
Yeah.
all he has to do is land one punch. He can knock him out.
Yeah. Well, supposedly they're going to be pussies about it, and they're not going to go hard. It's going to be an exhibition fight. You know.
Well, but Gervonta Davis, bro, he's one of the top 5 right now. I'm not saying
He's a
like
mini Mike Tyson. Gervonta Davis is a mini Mike Tyson for absolutely for
dude, Mike
sure.
Tyson was 57 years old when he fought Jake Paul. Gervonta
No,
Davis
but he's like a
prime.
yeah, he's like a mini Mike. He's like a knockout
Yeah.
machine, you know.
Yeah, dude, and he's like one of the top 5 in the world pound for pound right now. Like right now. So like yeah, he's fighting a real boxer now. But he's fighting somebody he's 50 pounds heavier than, dude. It's not even fucking, gonna look stupid. He's gonna look so bigger than him. It's gonna look ridiculous.
Yeah. I think so too.
Jake Paul's a fucking 200 plus pound dude, bro.
Yeah.
What did Gervonta Davis
what's Tank fight at 135?
Yeah,
155?
Yeah, I think he walks around at like 150 maybe or something like that. Yeah, he fights at like yeah, you gotta look up what he fights at. He might fight in the 130.
Let me see real quick. That's interesting to see.
Yeah, he's like fights at probably 135 pounds or 134
Like,
pounds.
who picks these fucking fights for Jake Paul? All he fights are like retired MMA fighters, and then like it seems like he like
he fights strikers, but he doesn't fight people that are pro boxers. Like he
I think he should fight. He should fight Darren Till.
Yeah, well, did you just see what Darren Till did to Luke?
Dude, he folded him. He fucking folded him, dude.
Yeah,
that was nasty.
You know what though? Luke Rockhold's corner should have fucking stopped the fight. Should have threw the towel in before that even happened. He was already fucking knocked out on his feet.
I know, dude. It was for anybody that hasn't seen that knockout. If you guys want to see a brutal knockout, look up the Darren Till versus Luke Rockhold knockout from this weekend. You'll be shocked, really.
And then after getting concussed like that, he was drinking a beer with Darren like an hour later. Like, that's ridiculous.
Dude, his leg was behind his body. He was positioned in like a weird way.
Yeah, that's how Krokop got fucking knocked out when Gonzaga head kicked him.
Wow.
Krokop's legs folded underneath him. It was sick. I don't know how his ACL didn't blow out with that.
I was excited though for Tony Ferguson. I hate to say it though, man. Like, I mean, like he beat someone. Like, has no skill, but
he celebrated like he fucking beat Anderson Silva when he beat Salt Poppy.
I know, right? I'm like, you just beat like a gamer. You know what I mean? He beat like a fucking a YouTuber. You know what I mean?
Horrible. Yeah. Horrible.
Oh my
At least
God,
he got a
man.
win.
Yeah. He needed that bad, you know. He needed that really bad. But and then he faced off with Dylan Dennis. Like, they're gonna do that fight. They should do that in like MMA, you know, if they're gonna do it, you know.
Yeah.
Dylan Dennis would probably submit Tony Ferguson in 15 seconds like he did to that other dude.
It's funny how Dylan Dennis has only fought like 3 professional fights, and he's been getting talked about for all these years.
I bet you Dylan, I mean, he has like some real submission skills. He can roll with the best of the best, you know?
No, he's great at BJJ, but I mean, he has zero striking.
Yeah. You would think that he would have picked something up from training with Connor, but I guess he didn't, you know? I don't.
Not really, dude. Not really. I mean, he was Connor's BJJ coach.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Well, Connor probably showed him a few things, but he wasn't, you know, what are you going to?
Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt this. We have a reading for this Entertainment Extreme Network. Sorry.
All right, so I'm getting like a feeling in the back, betrayed, like some third party interference in her aura, um, and like a melancholy, grief, disappointment. You know, might even be like some unwanted third person that gets involved in a relationship type thing. I'm trying to, because I'm getting some sort of like, somebody might even had like a miscarriage or an abortion or something going like that. I'm getting like a third party interference. Um, Man, it's really hard to get really do it down when I'm on like a Wi-Fi, like when we're doing it on this. Um, there's some kind of third party, like so I don't know if she's going through some sort of grief right now, or he going through a disappointment, or is it a man?
I think he's a man. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
okay, it is a man because I said she at first, but then I got the man vibe. So yeah, it might be that somebody stabbed him in the back, was heartbroken. He was betrayed by someone, but I also am getting like images of someone having a miscarriage or an abortion, and a desire for revenge going on. The desire to get even after being emotionally exploited. Let's put it that way. I'm getting that type of right, which goes along with like a three of swords in tarot. If anybody wants to know what the three of swords cards mean, that's pretty much what the three of swords card is right there. You know, huh? Maybe was it? Maybe did they have a fiance or a loved one that was killed or left or something? It's like a weird type of imagery I'm getting, or maybe a miscarriage or an abortion. Is the person there and they're talking in the chat room? Because I don't have it up. I don't have the chat room up.
Um, let me see what she says. Or he. She says no, no. So I guess this is a woman, or I don't know what's going on here. I don't understand what he keeps just saying no over and over again. So what is it? I don't know what he's saying no to, or she, he, she. Are you a he or she? Entertainment Extreme Network. Oh, he's a man. He's a man.
Yeah, I figured it was a man.
Sorry, guys. I'm just like really frustrated today. If anybody can tell, I'm having a really bad day. I haven't been feeling good all day.
Yeah,
You know
dude,
what I
I
mean?
wasn't.
Like I just haven't been feeling good at all. I don't know what's wrong with me, man. Like I'm
Dude,
just like not.
it's what's going. It's the sun too right now, bro. Like I was playing outside with my daughter, and I never got so tired in my life the last couple of days.
Yeah,
It's really there's a lot of bad mojo going on right now.
yeah. I think I need to take a break, but I can't afford to take a break. I just got to keep going. You know?
Yeah, well, you do a lot of interviews a day.
Yeah. I haven't even been able to keep posting my audio interviews and stuff. I gotta do that. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to go off on a tangent. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what to tell Extreme, the Extreme Network. That's the type of visions I was getting symbolism. I don't know exactly what it means, but I feel like a heartbroken energy, like somebody being stabbed in the back, even. or something being imposed on you from a third party, something like that. Sometimes it can mean like a miscarriage or an abortion or something like that, that symbolism. But if you're saying no, then it could mean something that has to do with sorrow, something that has to do with grief and disappointment, something that has to do with being heartbroken, and and it has to do with a party you have no control over it, like a third party did it. So sometimes it's like a loved one did an abortion without your consent, or there was a miscarriage that you had no control over, things like that. Sometimes that same symbolism has been in the past. That's why I suggested that. I didn't say it was for sure. I suggested what that symbolism means sometimes, but it's like a melancholy, grief, or disappointment. So I would be careful right now. That's some of the things I see coming forward. So just be careful. There might be someone that's a third party interference that might be stabbing you in the back or betraying you right now. So put up your defenses for that.
That's great. Can we do one more, because this lady never gets to get a reading? So
Yeah.
this is Linda Wagner, and she's telling me here, because I was telling her I was in Philly. She said connect with nature and hydrate. I wanted to get her a reading because like some of the other people on the chat, they always get readings, and
You used to listen
Linda
to Winger?
never gets one.
Linda Winger. Linda Winger. What's your name? Linda Winger. She likes the band Winger, or that's her real last name?
I think that's her last name. I don't know.
All right. So
I remember the band Winger, by the way, dude. My cousins used to love the band Winger back in the 80s.
Yeah.
Oh my god. That's the problem with me and you, man. We can go off on so many tangents. Like,
yeah, I know.
You know what I mean? Like,
you remember a band? It might be before your time, a little bit before your time. I'm only a few years older than you, but I had like older brothers and sisters, so like.
Well, I had older cousins too, and my cousins all listen to metal. So like I kind of or I listen to rap.
Remember that Christian metal band Striper?
Oh yeah, I remember Striper. Yeah, I remember Striper. God. Yeah.
Dude, you know what band my band opened up for?
What's that?
Firehouse. They were like an 80s band called Firehouse.
Oh, you remember Firehouse? Yeah.
I opened up for them when and it was at the Lowdown in Mount Vernon, New York. It was like a little biker bar club. And when we were I was a senior in high school when I was playing at this club. And we showed up to that night because we were opening, and it said Firehouse outside on the fucking thing. We were like, "What the fuck, Firehouse?" It's crazy.
I think I'm gonna smoke. I was gonna wait to go outside and smoke a joint. I think I'm just gonna smoke now. While we're still doing this, and then I'll go for a walk after this.
I've never tried this before, but I got moon rocks. It's over 60%. Look at this, space buds. It's rolled.
Wow.
It's rolled in keef and hash. Look at it right there.
Nice, dude. That's amazing.
Yeah, you can see that. Look at the resin and shit in it.
Yeah. Wow, dude, that's amazing. I'm looking for my joint.
This one is watermelon bubble gum, dude.
I know a lot of the rappers smoke moon rocks. I've heard them talk about it on rap songs. Like, I've literally heard that many times before. I've heard that. Like, yeah, like what is it? What is moon rocks? Like, what's the big deal with? Like, what does it mean? Like, what is it?
I don't know. This is the first time I've ever got it tonight.
Huh.
I'll let you know when this is over. I'll let you know. But also, so for Linda, I'm getting like a turn of events happening. A turn of event in your life that's happening, and that everything's going to be passing. Everything passes. The only constant thing is that life is always going to change, right? Things are always going to take a turn, but things are going to take a turn for the better right now. You're making progress in your life, work, goals, getting ahead, being in the driver's seat. That sort of, the wheel of fortune sort of card, right? That sort of symbolism is coming in, right? In control of one's destiny finally. Like luck's finally going, the wheel or circle is getting complete, a job well done type thing, right? And I think that there's going to be unexpected twists always in life, but you're sort of, things are going to start turning the right way. The wheel is starting to come. The wheel is turning in your favor. That type of symbolism. I also feel like that. Damn. So I'm getting like the vision of like a. It's not you, but someone else with fair blonde hair, bluish, greenish eyes, um, and like a best friend, right? A best friend type energy, and something that leads to fruitfulness and material comfort and creativeness. So I don't know if you're entering into a new endeavor with like a best friend or someone who's of similar, like a blonde haired woman with fair skinned woman with fair eyes, and but there's something to that effect that's going to be coming into your life, right? Which leads to fruitfulness, practice, and creativeness on your point. So look for that possible endeavor with someone of similar hair and eye color as you.
Well, I love that. I love that for her. Yeah, that's great for you, Linda. I love that. Um, well, I mean, this was amazing, man. Do you want to tell people where they can find you and everything? And like, dude, this was great, man.
Yeah,
You
you
know.
guys can find me at Comet 3. Comet 3. You guys can find me at the Mystical Spiral. I was thinking about Comet. You guys can find me at the mysticalspiralstore.com. You can find me at patreon.com/slash the mystical spiral. You can find me at Exploring the Ka with Ra on YouTube. I also have a second YouTube channel called The Mystical Spiral Copper and Gemstones, TMS Copper and Gemstones. And yeah, pretty much the Mystical Spiral for across the board. The Mystical Spiral store, the Mystical Spiral on Patreon, and my Space Water podcast. You see it right here, up on over here behind me somewhere, right here. You guys can find that right on YouTube. Wednesday, I'll be having Maria Wheatley on my show. I just had Glenn Kreisberg on 2 days ago, and I only have the best experts in their fields on as guests. And I also do podcasts of my own all the time. So check out the groundbreaking Space Water podcast on YouTube, exclusively on Exploring the Ka. And I really appreciate you guys. I really appreciate you, Rob. Yeah, Rob. You know what? You know, maybe we should do like an MMA podcast where you switch it up a little bit, because you doing talking about conspiracies and aliens and all this shit 3 times a day is crazy.
I know, right? It
It's gonna
really
burn you
is.
out. It's gonna
It's
burn
enough
you
to
out.
drive someone insane. You
It
know,
will.
it really
It's
is.
gonna burn. It's gonna drive you insane. It's right. And so maybe we should do something like where you could just like hang out and talk and bullshit where it's not so heavy.
Yeah. I would love that, man. I would love
And you
that,
know what?
honestly.
You're doing where you're opening up where people are, a lot of psychic activity is happening on your channel. People are doing readings. There's a lot of psychic activity opening up and exchanging on your channel. That could bring a lot of astral debris your way. All right. So you're going to
Yeah.
accumulate a lot of astral debris from all of this activity. So if you're
So
not
does
clear,
that keep what you think the astral parasites were then?
fuck yeah. Fuck yeah, dude.
Huh.
Fuck yeah.
That's interesting.
You pick up astral debris just from sleeping at night, let alone being around people that are getting readings and everything out there. Come on, bro.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
that's true, man. Yeah. I didn't think of that, man. I didn't. I gotta.
What do you think dude, why do you think I do what I do for a living? Right? Because I have to I have to, these are tools to help our mind, bodies, and souls. Like, and they're from nature. Copper's from nature. Crystals, gemstones, they're from nature. I'm doing everything that came from God, I'm working with. I'm not working with anything artificial, right? It's copper and gemstones that come from the earth, right? And they're tools to help our mind, body, and soul. And I was guided to make certain things to help my mind, to help my body, to help my soul, because I'm one of those people that attract all sorts of energies, right? So I needed that, to survive, to be who I am. So you guys are similar to me out there that are listening to this. Anybody who's listening to these shows, they're a very similar person to me. So you could find like-minded people right at my Patreon and right at my store, the mysticalspiralstore.com. I have a whole bunch of free information on that website. If you go in the menu, I have a whole bunch of free information. So if you can't afford the $2 a month for Patreon, you got a whole bunch of free information on my website, and you got a whole bunch of free information on my YouTube on Exploring the Ka. I have endless archives on my YouTube. I got a little over 10,000 subscribers, so I really appreciate you guys if you want to subscribe. And I pretty much reply to every comment on my channel, as long as it's either constructive criticism or a decent comment. I'm not going to respond to name calling, things like that. But I pretty much answer everybody. So contact me. Store.com, Exploring the Con, YouTube. Rob, again, I love you, buddy. Thank you for having me
Me
on.
too, man. All right, guys. Thanks, dude. I love you, dude.